Hello and welcome back to the Tapped In Podcast with your host, Bailey. Hello everyone, how's it going? I didn't post a episode last week because if you can't already tell or if you haven't seen my Instagram, I have moved officially. I am living on my own now, all by my lonesome. And we're on a nice new beginnings journey. I moved for school, so I'm just really looking forward to tapping into this new version of me and just this new identity that I have curated. And it's definitely going to take some time to adjust because I tried to do this ritual. Well, not ritual, but I tried to do this method where I tried to kill off my old self, my old thoughts, my old ways of being, and step into my new identity. And, I'm realizing that just because I did that practice does not mean that the old continuous thought patterns don't continuously come up. But it's that conscious decision that's noticing the anxieties and noticing the conditioned thoughts and wondering what you're going to do with it. What are you going to do when these thoughts come up? Are you going to push them off to the side and tell them that they're not real, tell them that they don't exist? Or are you going to sulk in those feelings and believe them and then watch it morph into your reality? So obviously we're going to do the first one. It's just really hard to know what is you looking out for yourself versus what is your intuition or what is anxiety. So it's just an interesting journey having to be a part of this all by myself, but I'm so excited on top of a lot of, normal fear-based mindsets, but I don't think that is something that I want to live by. It's definitely not something that I'm going to live by ever, but it's just an adjustment. And I think today's episode, I really just wanted to make an episode for something that I would want to hear. I wanted to make an episode based on something that I know that a younger or more insecure self version of me would want to hear. Even now, honestly, it doesn't even matter what position of life I'd be in. I think I would just love a podcast episode like this, where it's just talking about basic daily reminders that you can remind yourself that allow you to know and calm you to know that you're on the right path and reassure you that you are doing everything in your power that you can as a human being in order to maintain balance within this human existence. And I think there's so much that we forget that we have control over, and then what God has control over. And God has control over all of the things that we don't. So timing and where you're going to be, like where you're going to end up working, who you're going to meet, like what positions you're going to end up in, what opportunities are going to come your way. Like God is in control of all of the circumstances that we are not. And I think that we tend to forget that, and we tend to lose sight in the fact that we are not extraterrestrial beings. We are humans, and we have to remember that there are certain limitations that human beings have that the spiritual realm doesn't have. And that's exactly why our angels and our guides and God is trying to reassure us that you just keep doing what you're doing, keep going on the right path, keep listening to your heart, keep listening to me as in God, and just keep following your body, keep listening to your intuition, and I promise you that everything will work out. And I think that is just kind of the reassurance that God and our angels and our guides want to reassure us, but we always get so lost in the sauce. We get so lost in our mindset. We get so lost in our headspace that it's so easy to neglect what everything that God is trying to reassure us. But I promise you that if you feel that you're on a path that's scary, not dangerous, but if you feel like you're on a path that's, you're scared, you don't know the outcome, you're in a place in life where it's an unknown. I feel like if I'm in this position in life right now, and I know for a fact if I'm in this position, then there are other beautiful people in the same position in life as well, because no feeling is unique. So I really think that I just was called to make this not just for myself, but for anyone else that could possibly be in a very similar position. Maybe you didn't move out of home, but maybe you have a new job, or maybe you're taking up a new creative endeavor, or maybe you are moving to another country. Whatever the case is, these reminders go out to literally anyone and everyone that is in any position in life. So, fourth daily reminder I put is your thoughts are not reality. Kind of self-explanatory, but we tend to forget that our thoughts aren't what's actually going on. Like, we have so much that we have built up in our minds, and we have so much that we badger ourselves about and internalize, and we just stuff everything in and keep it in our head, and we just make ourselves feel like we are just conjumbled with so much trash in our heads. And I think that we just need the reassurance and the reminder that it is not real. Not all your thoughts are real. Do they deserve to be heard? Yes, some thoughts do deserve to be heard and acknowledged, because some thoughts aren't lies. But I feel that a lot of our anxious, loud, crowded thoughts, I feel like if we feel like our thoughts are like we're in a crowded cafeteria, and you can't even tell, like, you can't even feel what's clear, I really think that that is exactly when we can decipher, like, okay, you know what? I'm feeling very not in a good headspace right now. And I think that if a thought is making you feel, like, super anxious, and if a thought is making you, like, want to deplete and you just feel small, that's how we need to know that these thoughts are not reality. These thoughts are not something that we should listen to. These thoughts are not something that we have control over. And I think we need to remember that these thoughts that do come up that feel like a crowded room are so far from the truth, and that we just need to remind ourselves that we are fine. We're fine. Okay? Reground yourself in those moments of cluttered thoughts. Reground yourself in the anxious attachments that you have to your old ways of being. Just reground. You can call someone up. You can make a voice note on your phone to just say all of the anxious feelings that you're feeling, just to get it out of your head. You can write it down. You can meditate on it. You can pray. Anything that makes you feel like you can reground yourself back to the present moment. Deep breaths, of course. Do it, because those thoughts that you're spiraling about 99% of the time are not true. And the only reason I say 99 and leave it at 99 is because sometimes we spiral about things that maybe we did wrong. Like, maybe there's a mistake that we made, or maybe, there's something that we did to someone to hurt them. In those moments, I would definitely say, like, take time to internalize and think about it, but you don't have to shame yourself or make yourself feel small or make you hate yourself in those moments too, because we're all allowed to make mistakes. We're all human beings. But I think the spiraling is when it kind of gets a little too much. Next daily reminder that I put is you can change the way you think. You can change your brain. You just have to make it a daily practice. You can change your brain. You can alter the way that you think, and you can most definitely change your thoughts. It just has to become a daily practice. And that is so hard because our brains are just so accustomed to what we have been told when we were young, what we have been told based on our environment, what we have been implemented into our brains since childhood. It's so easy to get wrapped up in the old ways of being and the old conditioned thoughts. But I think something that I want to try to tell myself, and what I want to tell you, is a daily affirmation is I can change my brain. I can change my brain. If we can tell ourselves and remind ourselves that changing our brain is 100% possible, then I think that we can really, really alter our reality, because our thoughts end up becoming our reality. And I think if we change the way our thoughts marinate, and if we change the way that our thoughts sit within our heads, and we can alter them to be like, you know what, instead of me flipping out over seeing something that might freak me out or make me scared or sad or whatever, I'm going to look at it as whatever. I think that there's an easier way for us to alter our headspace and make our headspace and our brain a more fun environment to be in. I think that we're with ourselves all the time. We're in our thoughts all the time. We are in our own world all the time because, hello, we're ourselves. So we need to figure out a way to make our playground, our internalized playground, more fun. We need to figure out a way to make the inside of our brain a little less cluttered, a little less cloudy, a little less gloomy, and a little less whatever the fuck that it might be. And we need to find a healthier, calmer way to approach the way that we think and the way that we talk to ourselves. So once we gain a little more compassion, a little more self-love, a little more trust, a little more intuition into our headspace, and we remind ourselves, you can change your brain. You can change the way you think. You can change the way you talk. You can change the way you walk. You can change the outcome that you think everyone wants your life to be. You can make the outcome be whatever you think and want it to be. I think that that is just such a healthy way to look at life, because we don't have to be so conditioned to how our thoughts were as our upbringing has told us to believe, So change your brain and remind yourself every single day that you can do so. Patience can be your virtue. And this is the hardest one. This is the hardest one for me to accept. Trust me. I think it's the hardest one for any human to accept, is that timing is not up to us. Timing is just not part of the human realm. It's just not. There are a lot of things, like I said in the beginning of this episode, that we have control over. And timing is not one of them. And timing is something that we need to constantly remind ourselves that is up to the cosmos and that is up to God. And, we might be in a position in life where we feel like, why is nothing happening? Why do I feel like everything's still so stagnant, XYZ? When it truly is up to God's timing, and it truly is up to God when we are ready to actually tap in and actually explore and open the door and become the highest version of ourselves. And I really do think a lot is up to us. Don't get me wrong. I definitely think that there is so much that we can do. And I definitely think there is so much that we can learn and achieve and conquer by persistence and consistency. And, it comes. But I really do think that when we remain patient and we remain in the mindset that it's going to happen when it's meant to, there's no other way, like it's going to happen, like there's no ifs, ands, or buts, like what I'm chasing is going to happen. The timing is just not up to me. I think when we realize that, and I think when we tap into that headspace, other than the headspace that is like in a constant need to know things and in a constant need to chase and a constant need to want things right now in this very moment, we're going to have a lot of struggle. And we're going to have a lot of internal struggle into feeling like we're not worthy, into feeling like that we don't deserve it, into wanting to give up. But I don't think that giving up is anything that we should do, because if we give up, then we're giving up on God. And I don't think that helps anybody. So don't stop creating in the midst of everything. And it's so much easier said than done. Trust me. As I've been moving, I've just felt so not creative. And I really have felt very much so just not that inspired. And I truly thought that once I moved and was like by myself, I was going to feel so inspired to like just want to record all the time and constantly record my life and constantly record what I'm doing and what's going on and all this stuff. And as I've been in here for about 4 days now, right? Yeah, as I've been in here for about 4 days now, of course, I'm still kind of living out of boxes, and I'm not everything that I need is here. So, of course, there's that part, but it's just kind of interesting coming to that realization that I just didn't feel that creative this week, and I just haven't felt inspired to want to make anything or post anything. And I'm going to be honest, like, making this episode was kind of something that I just wasn't in the mood to do, but I decided to step out of that headspace that was trying to keep me trapped within the, you don't need to create right now headspace. Like, I think that when I do create, I feel so much better. And when I do create, I feel productive. Even when I feel like that everything else around me isn't working out, when I create, that is the one thing I have control over, and that is the one thing that I want to keep persistent at. And of course, like I said, or I didn't say this, but there are positions in life where, creating might not be anything that you want to do, whether you're going through grief, whether you're going through heartbreak, whatever the case may be. But if you're just in a position that's like a new beginning, or even if you did like lose a partner or a best friend, or even if just your external environment looks different than it normally has, then I think that we get lost in the sauce and just wanting to distract ourselves and wanting to put other things in front of the other. And I think that it's really important and crucial that we don't forget to be creative. And that doesn't mean that you have to create a video and post it on the internet. That could be anything, like creating a flower arrangement, writing a poem, just like decorating a new place of your house, or folding your clothes and putting them in the drawer, like, I don't know, buying a new set of pillows for your couch, like anything that makes you feel like you are tapped into your inner child and your inner creativity, then that is a way to feel at least fruitful within the moment. Last daily reminder I have for you guys is imagine your future self telling you that everything is going to be okay. And there's this one Steve Lacy song that I love so much. I think it's only if, and if you know it, you know. But in the beginning, one of the first things he says, if I could travel through time, I think I would tell myself from the past, you'll be fine. And that quote sits so well with me right now, or that song lyric, whatever, sits really good with me right now, because I think what I'm just trying to constantly remind myself is that every position in life is temporary, and even the bad moments, they're so temporary. The good moments are temporary as well, but I think that it's really important to remind ourselves that every single season is temporary, every single season in life. And that's the thing about being a human. That's the thing about coming back to earth, is change is inevitable. And I think that something that would really, really, really help me is just to constantly remind myself, constantly tell myself and envision it. Even when I meditate, just envision my future self telling me everything's going to be okay. You're going to end up just fine. And I think when I have that vision, and when I have that perspective, I can really open my eyes to the possibilities. And I can open my eyes to the reality of the situation. I can open my eyes to everything else that matters around me that isn't within the present, but everything else that you're going to accomplish and that you're going to see in this lifetime and who you're going to become. It's really important for us to remind ourselves that just because you're in a position in life that's not perfect right now does not mean that your future self isn't so grateful that you are in this position right now. And, I can look back at moments when I was in LA, and I can look back at moments when I lived in Tampa, and I can feel so grateful for that girl for starting that thing and doing that thing and remaining that person and having a good heart and not losing herself in the midst. And I think in those moments it was harder for me to be like, ugh, like this sucks, like I probably was just thinking to myself how much I didn't want to be in that present moment. But now I can look back and be so grateful for that girl that was in that moment, So I think something that you can remind yourself is, even if you're in a position in life that's not perfect, even if you're in a position in life that is not how you envision yourself to be, maybe 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 month ago, whatever. I constantly have this version of future self of me looking at me and just telling me everything's going to be fine and you're going to end up just fine. So I guess those are my daily reminders. I really hope that you got something out of this podcast episode and out of this video. I'm going to be planning on posting more weekly again. I just fell off last week because, like I said, I was moving. So cut a girl some slack. Nobody cared. Nobody noticed. But yeah, that's okay. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and comment down below if you are going to use any of these daily reminders, which one resonated with you the most. Give my show a 5-star rating and leave me a comment so that my show can spread around to more like-minded people like you. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And all of my socials are in the description below. So, yes. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful day. And remember to stay tapped in. Bye, guys.